The Championship is back. Not only is it back, but we are about to embark on the final 20 fixtures of the regular season, and what an incredible season it has been so far. Let's take a quick look at the table. As you can see, the top two spots are still occupied by Leicester and Ipswich. Southampton, Leeds, West Brom and Sunderland make up the playoff spots, and Rotherham, QPR and Sheffield Wednesday are currently in the bottom three. What's most unusual about this season, though, is the records that are being broken. I looked at the history of England's second tier in the 31 completed seasons of the Premiership era. In that time, the highest number of points scored by a third-place team was 90, by Sunderland in 1997-98. 93 is a second-place record, jointly held by Burnley and Brighton, both within the last decade. And finally, Reading hold the record points total for Championship winners with 106. With 57% of the season gone, if Leicester continue at their existing pace of 2.5 points per game, they will finish on 115 points, which is 8% better than Reading's record. Similarly, Ipswich can go 5% further than Burnley and Brighton by continuing their current PPG, and Southampton 2% better than Sunderland did in 1998. This game week's first matchup is Hull v Norwich, with the Canaries travelling to the MKM Stadium on Friday to take on Liam Rosenior's Tigers. Looking at Hull's recent form is just 6 points from a possible 15, though both of those wins have come at home from teams below them in the league. Norwich have taken 1 point less, losing both of their last two away games, though they have been happy to get a draw against form side Southampton in their last home game. It's 7th v 13th, and with Hull being boosted by the recent loan signing of Fabio Carvalho from Liverpool, it feels like a home win is likely. Both teams face FA Cup replays next Tuesday, with Norwich now knowing a win at Bristol Rovers means a fourth round match away at Liverpool to follow. They will be keen to not let that distract them, but I think it will, so it's a 2-1 home win for me. Next up, we're off to the CBS Arena for Coventry v Leicester. With Coventry 3 points off the playoffs, they'll be keen to get a win, but the last team you want to be playing right now are the Foxes. Coventry have been in good form recently with 11 points from their last 5 league games, including maximum returns from their 2 trips to the North East. What can we say about Leicester? They have won 4 of their last 5, only dropping points late on away at second-placed Ipswich. We're looking at 2 informed teams here, and it's hard to separate them on that basis. I'm going to say this one ends on as even with a 2-2 draw. However, I think all 3 results are possible, so it's a bit of a punt. We head north to the John Smith Stadium next as Darren Moore's Terriers host the Pilgrims. Just 4 points in 3 places separate these sides, so it's a crucial game for both. Huddersfield first, and it's been a difficult last 5 games for them in the league, with just 1 win and a draw amongst their 3 defeats, followed by a big FA Cup loss away at the current holders, Manchester City. Plymouth's recent form isn't that great either, with their only win in the last 5 a few weeks ago at home to bottom side Rotherham United. The opening up of the transfer window has seen Huddersfield execute some immediate business with new names coming in or players recalled. Plymouth have lost Lone Star Finn Azaz, but brought in 18-year-old Ashley Phillips from Tottenham on loan. I am going to predict a 1-0 home win. Next, we're driving south down the M1 to look at Rotherham United, who take on Stoke City at New York Stadium. Rotherham are propping up the league with just 18 points, all but 3 of which have been won at home. They have 5 points from their last 5 games, including a Boxing Day win against Middlesbrough. Stoke are unbeaten in their last 6 league games, though with only 6 goals scored, they are hardly prolific. They notched 2 against Brighton in the Cup, but shipped 4 in reply. I will sit on the fence with this one and predict a 1-1 draw. Stoke have become hard to beat under Steven Schumacher, but Rotherham away have proven to be a difficult fixture even for sides higher up the table than Stoke. We're in South Wales next for one of this weekend's most competitive fixtures as the Bluebirds take on Daniel Farke's Leeds United. Cardiff haven't won at home in a month, with their best results coming away at relegation-threatened QPR and Sheffield Wednesday. Plymouth held them at home and Leicester won there 2-0. There is no disgrace in that. Leeds tend to win at home and struggle away. However, a big FA Cup win at Peterborough, with Patrick Bamford scoring a worldie, may turn that story around. As we are at the business end of the season, I cannot see Leeds slipping up again, and I am backing them to take all 3 points with a 2-goal margin. From South Wales to South London, Borough are this week's visitors to the Den. The Lions are unbeaten in 5 in the league and narrowly missed taking Leicester to a replay in the Cup with an injury time free kick that would have made it a 3-3 draw. Middlesbrough went out of the FA Cup on Saturday, but far bigger news is that they beat Chelsea 1-0 at home in the first leg of the EFL Cup semi-final. Whilst they are only 4 points off the playoff positions, it's hard to make a case for not prioritising progress in that competition over the league, especially as their injury-ravaged squad isn't deep enough to fight on all fronts. I think Millwall take this one 1-0 and continue their resurgence. Baggies host Rovers at the Hawthorns in the next one. West Brom are another side that do well at home and less well away, especially recently. They took the notable scalp of Leeds just before New Year, as well as Norwich the game before. Those good results are sandwiched between 2 away defeats, but this one is a home game. Their FA Cup winner side, Blackburn, registered a rare draw at home to Rotherham last time out to end a 4-game losing streak. That was only their second stalemate of the season, with 10 wins and 14 losses making up the rest. Given this and West Brom's strength at home, I'm going to go for a relatively comfortable 3-1 home win. Deepdale is the venue of the next match-up, with Preston hosting the Robins. P&E's memorable win at home to Leeds was the highlight of a dismal 5-game run that saw them score only once in their other 4 defeats. Add to that a 4-0 thrashing by Chelsea in the Cup. Bristol City have taken Premiership side West Ham to an FA Cup replay, just as their league form started to dip. The Christmas period had many fixtures this season, so fatigue may have played a part in that decline, but they may be re-energised now after a rest and a positive Cup result. My prediction is a 2-0 away win, with the Robins returning to winning ways on the road. New Blues manager Tony Mowbray gets a home tie to kick off his Birmingham tenure, and Swansea are the visitors for his first game. Blues results under Wayne Rooney were given as the reason for his dismissal, and when you look at the Championship form table for all the games under his leadership, Birmingham are dead last. This team was 7th prior to his arrival, so the talent is clearly there to justify a higher position. Swansea's results have been inconsistent, with a couple of wins either side of a 5-0 hiding at Southampton and a creditable 2-2 away at Coventry. I am going to disregard Blues form under Rooney and predict that they turn up for Mowbray's first game to deliver him a 1-0 win. St Mary's is our next destination, with form side Southampton looking to extend an unbeaten run that goes back to September. Their 2 biggest wins of the season took place in December, with a 4-0 against Blackburn and a 5-0 against Swansea, both at home. If we were to look for negatives, it's also a fact that Saints have had a run of games against sides in the lower half of the table, but you can only beat the team in front of you, as the old saying goes. Sheffield Wednesday are still in the bottom 3, but their recent improvement in form suggests they may be able to find a way out. A 4-0 FA Cup win over Cardiff adds credibility to this suggestion. However, nobody wants a trip to St Mary's right now, and though I could be wrong, I think Saints continued their winning form against the Owls. At Portman Road, Ipswich will be playing Sunderland in a 2nd versus 6th matchup that's possibly the biggest game of the weekend. Ipswich's early season form tapered off from mid-December onwards as injuries, suspensions and fatigue took their toll on a thin squad. However, they managed to avoid defeats in that run except for a 4-0 hammering at Elland Road. Skipper Sam Morsey starts his 2-game ban in this fixture and, at time of recording, no new striker has been signed to replace the injured George Hurst. Sunderland are undefeated in the last 3, including an away win at Hull City. That run came to an end to arch-rivals Newcastle United in the FA Cup though, with the Black Cats failing to score in a 3-0 defeat. I am going to predict an entertaining 0-0 draw for this one, which will disappoint both sets of fans as well as anyone watching on TV. Loftus Road hosts the one Sunday game, with Watford making the trip across London to take on the R's. QPR sit in 23rd place and their decent run of results from late November to mid-December appears to have stalled. An away draw at Ipswich is their sole return over the last 5, and they also went out of the Cup on Saturday when they lost to AFC Bournemouth. Watford's form has dipped too, but with 8 points from possible 15, their dip has been shorter and less severe. As we said earlier, the busy Christmas schedule is commented on by many managers. I see this going the visitors' way, with the R's failing to score. Watford have 10 goals from their last 3 away games, and I can't imagine them blanking here. So there we have it. 6 home wins, 3 draws and 3 away wins. But wait, there's more. What if we were to compare these predictions to just random guesses? I went back and looked at how many goals home and away teams scored over the 552 fixtures of last season's championship. It turns out that the average scoreline would have been 1.3 to 1.1. But as no game can ever finish like that, we have to look at the distribution instead. Using the historical likelihood of each number of goals, a random result generator gives us these scorelines. Check back next week to see which ones were more accurate.